Morning, everyone. So for today's lesson, we are going to talk about the self from the psychological perspective. So let's proceed to Karen and I, psychoanalytic social theory. So we are done with Freud, Erik Erikson, and Carl Rogers. So for today, we are going to focus on her theory. So Carl and I believe that human beings, if given an environment of discipline and warmth, will develop feelings of security and a confidence or self-confidence and a tendency to move toward self-realization. So for example, ito ay lumaki na kung saan you are very supported by your family, friends, and relatives, so you are more likely to develop self-confidence and the feeling of security. So Horney focuses on the neurotic people or in a neurotic person. So the first one is this one. Neurotic glory and worship themselves, okay, in different ways. So the first one is compliant people see themselves as good and saintly. So kapag ikaw yung tao na palaging um, uh, sumusunod sa mga utos ng mga kasama mo sa bahay or sumusunod sa utos or the ones of other people, you are more likely ikaw yung taong isang mabuti at parang isang banal. Okay, ikaw yung appear to become a good person. Aggressive people build an idealized image of themselves as strong, heroic, and omnipotent. So for example, if ikaw yung isang tao that you have idealized image, di ba, as we talk about Carl Rogers, so if hindi nyo pa napakinggan yun, please have time to listen about this idealized image. So ikaw yung taong strong, heroic, like for example, you are like a hero that can help a disaster, and omnipotent who can do everything. Detached neurotics paints their self-portraits as wise, self-sufficient, and independent. So you will be detached from the real world. Okay. So under this neurotic, okay, we will gonna talk about or focus this idealized self-image. Okay, so if you didn't have or kapag wala pa kayong background about this idealized self-image, please listen to Carl Rogers' theory. Okay. So, ang idealized self-image, this will become a solidified part of the person's life. Okay, ito yung pinaniniwalaan ng isang tao na this is the real him or real her. So, they lose the touch of their real self and use the idealized self as the standard for self-evaluation. So, for example, if you are a student and you believe that you are a boss, okay, you believe that you are someone in a position, so you are lose or you lose your real self. Okay, kasi nga yung belief mo na is you are a boss now. So rather than growing towards self-realization, you move toward actualizing the self or the ideal self. So when I recognize three aspects of this idealized self, the first one is the neurotic search for glory, neurotic claims, and neurotic pride. So let's begin to the neurotic search for glory. So, as neurotic comes to believe in the reality of their idealized self, they begin to incorporate it into all aspects of their lives. Ibig sabihin, if na boss siya or he or she is someone, he or she is in a position, as I should say, so yung goals mo, self-concept mo, and yung relationship with other people affects to it. So, for example, if you are a boss, so you treat other people lower than you, kahit nakasama mo sa bahay, tinitreat mo na sila ng mga alipin mo because na you are the boss. But, so when I refer to this comprehensive drive toward actualizing the ideal self as the neurotic search for glory. Okay, so the first one under this neurotic search for glory, we have the need for perfection. So the need for perfection refers to the drive to mold the whole personality into the idealized self. Neurotics are not content to merely make a few alterations. Nothing short of complete perfection is acceptable. They try to achieve perfection by erecting a complex set of shoulds and should nots. So Horney referred to this drive as a tyranny of should, striving toward an imaginary picture of perfection. Neurotics consciously or unconsciously, I should say, tell themselves, forget about the disgraceful virtue you actually are. This is how you should be. So ito yung mga tao, neurotic, that they long or they strive for perfection. They must do the shoulds. Okay? They forget yung mga bagay na hindi nila kayang gawin. Okay, so for example, For example, isa silang student. So, pino-forget nila that they are a student. They act like a principal or they act like a boss. Okay? So, they strive for perfection talaga. So, yung pangalawa is neurotic ambition. So, this is the second key element of the neurotic search for glory. So, as a normal person, you have your own ambition, di ba? You have your own, you want to become a professional, you want to become a accountant, you want to become a teacher, you want to become a painter, or uh, any type of profession that you wanted. Like me, I wanted to become a psychologist and proceed to a higher education pa. Pero in the neurotic ambition, we have here that they strive for superiority. They are drive to superiority. So, gusto nila they are higher than anyone. So, always remember this, that meron at merong mga tao sa paligid mo na mas mataas sa'yo. Even you are the president of the Philippines, there is someone pa rin na mas mataas sa'yo. Okay? So, although neurotics have an exaggerated need to excel in everything, they ordinarily channel their energies into those activities that are most likely to bring success. So, ibig sabihin, di ba, gusto nilang maging higher, pero sa kanila, ginagawa nila lahat ng effort nila to become that person. Hindi yung like nagising na lang sila na gano'n. So, yung energy nila is nilalagay nila dun sa mga bagay na kung saan sila maging success. So, this drive therefore may take several different forms during a person's lifetime. So, the third aspect of neurotic search for glory is the drive toward a vindictive triumph. So, the most destructive element of all. I find it very destructive. So the need for a vindictive triumph may be disguised as a drive for achievement or success. So they disguise. But its chief aim is to put others to shame or defeat them through one's very self. So, ito yung nakakatakot, yung may mga kasama ka sa office na kaya kang siraan para lang aangat sila. Yung may mga kasama ka sa bahay na kaya kang ibaba para sila yung maging favorite. Or kaya kang, for example, in your workplace or sa school ninyo, 'di ba? Sa pag-aaral ninyo, yung kaya kang siraan ng isang tao para lang mabababa ka at sila ay may tataas. So this is the very destructive element talaga kasi ito yung dangerous na type of neurotic person, the vindictive triumph. Okay, so the second aspect of idealized image is the neurotic claims. So in their search for glory, neurotics build a fantasy world. As you can see, di ba, the ambition itself, yung mga claims nila, yung mga gusto nila in life, di ba? You can see that there is a fantasy world, becoming a boss, single snap, you're still a student, but you act like a boss. Diba? So, as you can see, very fantasy yung world. Wala sila sa reality. Diba? Sabi nga sa introduction kanina, you lose your real self because you are living in the idealized self that you have. So, a world that is out of sync with the real world. Diba? You are out of sync talaga because you tend to forget what your real self is. So believing that something is wrong with the outside world, they proclaim that they are special and therefore entitled to be treated in accordance with their idealized view of themselves. Okay, you will understand these neurotic claims as we go through this topic. So when normal people like us, if we wish to something or if we wanted to do something, if hindi ito nagawa or hindi ito nangyari, okay, nagkakaroon tayo ng frustration. Okay. But when neurotic claims are not met, kapag hindi na met yung neurotic claims, okay, they will become indignant, bewildered, and unable to comprehend why others have not granted their claims. So the difference between normal desires and neurotic claims, different with us, okay, is illustrated by a situation na kung saan, for example, may pila tayo. For example na lang, 7-Eleven, very common. Tapos mahabang pila sa 7-Eleven. So ngayon, if you're a normal people, makikipila ka sa likod because you are last or ikaw yung huling dumating or huling nakipila. But if you are a neurotic people, ang believe nila, they deserve to go first. So yung gagawin nila, punta sila sa okay? Didiretso sila sa counter at magbabayad. Hindi sila magpipila. Because they deserve that, yung iniisip nila, and they have the position to go there at sila yung mauuna. You can see the difference between the neurotic people and the normal people. Okay, I hope you're still following in this class. If you have questions, you can comment down below the questions that you have. Okay. So the neurotic pride. So the third aspect of an idealized image is neurotic pride, a false pride based not on a realistic view of the true self, but on a spurious image of the idealized self. Neurotics imagine themselves to be glorious, wonderful, and perfect. Yan. So when others fail to treat them with special consideration, their neurotic pride is hurt. So for example, nakisingit sila sa 7-Eleven, dumiretso sila sa counter. Ngayon pinagsabihan mo, miss, sa likod ka po kasi ikaw po yung huli and ako po yung nauna. So ang mangyayari sa neurotic people, masasaktan sila. Na parang minaliit mo sila, yung feeling na nila, minaliit mo sila. So to prevent the hurt, they avoid people who refuse to yield to their neurotic claims. Lalayuan ka ng mga taong neurotic kasi nga hindi effect yung mga dramahan nilang pauna-una, di ba? So instead, they try to become associated with socially prominent and prestigious institutions and acquisitions. Okay? So we have here the self-hatred. Anong mangyayari po kapag ma-realize na ng mga neurotic na they are not in that position or hindi totoo yung idealized self? Ano pong mangyayari? So, ang mangyayari dyan is nagkakaroon sila ng self-hatred. As you can see this person here in the picture that she is relaxing, okay, meditating in the real world. Okay, what if nasa real self na siya? Magkakaroon ba siya ng relaxation? No, mababother siya. Okay, you will see here how this person, paano niya ini-inflict yung hatred sa kanyang sarili when the person realized already na hindi pala totoo yung idealized self niya na siya ay boss or na siya ay nasa position. So Horney recognized these 6 major ways in which people express self-hatred. The first one, relentless demands on the self. So first, self-hatred may result in relentless demands on the self, which are exemplified by the tyranny of the should. For example, some people make demands on themselves that don't stop even when they achieve a measure of success. So ibig sabihin, kapag naka-graduate na sila or nakamit na nila yung sum of their dreams, hindi pa yun enough sa kanila. They strive more for perfection. So these people continue to push themselves toward perfection because they believe they should be perfect. So they always strive for perfection. Number 2, merciless self-accusation. So ito is ini-inflict nila sa self nila. They are not doing this to other people. Ito ay ginagawa nila sa self nila because they are punishing themselves kasi hindi totoo yung idealized self na pinaniniwalaan nila before. So the second mode of expressing self-hatred is merciless self-accusation. Neurotics constantly berate themselves. If people only knew me, they would realize that I'm pretending to be knowledgeable, competent, and sincere. I'm really a fraud, but no one knows it but me. So self-accusation may take a variety of forms, from obviously grandiose expression, such as taking responsibility for natural disasters. So, for example, volunteering in an impossible situation, pupunta ka dun sa mga na-erupt na mga lugar, sa mga nababagyo na hindi naman kaya na ng mga tao. So, yun yung ginagawa ng isang tao. Okay? So, the third one is self-contempt. The third one is the self-hatred may take the form of self-contempt, which might be expressed as belittling, disparaging, doubting, discrediting, and ridiculing oneself. Okay, so sa self-contempt, ito na yung minamaliit mo na yung sarili mo. Okay, discrediting. Okay, na parang wala ka nang kaya. Okay? So, kasi nga, yung iniisip nilang idealized self before na they are boss, di ba kaya nila lahat? They're striving for more. Pero nung na-realize nila that they are not that person, as in, pinamililiit nila yung sarili nila, gano'n. So, for example na lang, if the person thinking to date Ivana, okay? So, sabihin niya sa self niya, you conceited idiot, what makes you think you can get a date with the best-looking woman in the town? Okay, so a woman may attribute her successful career to luck. Although these people may be aware of their behavior and they have no perception of the self-hatred that motivates it. Okay, so number four, we have the self-frustration. Siyempre, this is very given that the person will realize na hindi totoo yung idealized self. So, the person will really feel self-frustration. Okay, so yung mga sinasabi nila is, I don't deserve a new car. I must not wear nice clothes because many people around the world are in rags. I must not strive for a better job because I'm not good enough for it. So yung mga iniisip na ng tao sa self nila na hindi na nila deserve, they are very frustrated sa kanilang mga experience and realizations. Sa self-torment or self-injure. Self-torment or self-injure. Okay. So, sa self-torment or self-torture, ito na yung time na naglalaslas na yung tao or nag-inflict siya ng pain sa kanyang sarili. Example, nagpupuyat na siya ng 24 hours para lang ma-feel niya yung headache pain or ang dami-dami na nilang ginagawa para lang masaktan siya. Okay, so number six, we have the self-destructive actions and impulses. So, sa self-destructive, dinidestroy mo na yung self mo through, paano? Through overeating, abusing alcohol, other drugs, and working too hard, driving reckless, suicides also. Okay, so dito mo nakikita na dinidestroy mo na yung self mo. Okay, it can be physical, psychological, you are conscious or unconscious, pwede ito. So, ito yung mga bagay na you are really destructing or destroying yourself para lang masabi mo na pinaparusahan mo yung self mo kasi nga hindi nga ikaw yung idealized self. In the theory of Rogers, the idealized self or the ideal self there is not this bad because hindi siya ganun ka strong. The ideal self there is yung may uh, nilook up mo lang siya na gusto mong maging gano'n but doing the right thing para makamit yun. Dito kasi you are living with it na hindi pa kaya. Dinilive mo na yung pagiging principal or pagiging boss na hindi pa sa right time. Yung ginagawa mo is ngayon na. You are still a student. Pero umaasta ka ng boss. So that's not good. Okay? So we have the self-efficacy theory. So in self-efficacy theory, so allow me to read this one. You can follow me. So self-efficacy is not self-image, self-worth, or any other similar construct. It is often assigned the same meaning as variables such as this, along with confidence, self-esteem, or optimism. However, it has a slightly different definition than any of these related concepts. Self-efficacy is the belief that we have in our own abilities, specifically our ability to meet the challenges ahead of us and complete a task successfully. So, for short, self-efficacy theory or self-efficacy will help us to cope all the struggles that we have. Ito yung mga bagay na pwede mong gawin although you fail. You will not blame other people because you will get this failure into stepping stones. So general self-efficacy refers to the overall belief in our ability to succeed. Okay, but there are many more specific forms of self-efficacy as well. Academic, parenting, or sports, and many more. So, bakit nga ba kailangan mataas ang self-efficacy? So, high self-efficacy can manifest as one or more of the following traits na ating pag-uusapan or ating example dito. So, the first one, a student who is not particularly gifted in a certain subject, so for example, mahina ka sa math, but believing in her own ability to learn it well. So, ibig sabihin, may chance na matuto kang mag-solve ng math. So number two, a man who had a bad luck with a relationship so far, but retains a positive outlook on his ability to connect with his upcoming date. Diba maraming times siya na-busted, pero still looking up, okay, for a perfect woman. So number three, an unexpected mother who is nervous about caring for a new baby, but believes that she has what it takes to succeed no matter how difficult or scary it is. Number four, a new graduate who takes a high-profile, high-status job that she has never done before, but that she feels she can succeed in. For example, graduate ka ng IT, pero Iba yung binigay sa'yong work or graduate ka ng teacher, pinag-work ka sa office, di ba? Hindi mo yan line, pero you can learn with it. So number 5, an entrepreneur who pours his heart and soul into establishing his business but quickly moves on to his next great idea when his business is hit, okay, na bankrupt with an insurmountable and unexpected challenge. So, even to those situations, ginagawa nilang positives, okay, yung mga pangyayari. Okay, so to summarize this theory ni Horney, she wanted to know or to let us know that as a person, you may fail, okay, and you may succeed. Okay, so dapat lahat ay process. Huwag niyo mamadali na in the blink of an eye, you become a professional. Dapat lahat yan, you are going through the process. Mag-school din ka, gagraduate ka, may board exam, you took the board exam, then after that, you build your business or mag-aaral kayo, you apply a job, dapat process. If you long to become someone, kailangan mong paghirapan yan. Walang madali. Okay? Kapag lahat nakukuha mo sa madalian, madali din yang mawawala. Okay? So this is all sa theory ni Karen Horney. Thank you for listening in this class. And if you have questions again, you can comment your questions below or you can PM me. Okay, so the next theory will be Albert Bandura. Thank you for listening. That's all for today. Bye.